Hello everyone, I'm Cannistra. Thank you so much for joining me on this show on WCPT Gettysburg on my YouTube channel. This is the weekly show where I go into the latest news in the world of movies and give some insight into what I think it all means. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's get started on the first topic of the day, because we have quite a few big topics to talk about this week. So, the first topic that I want to talk about today is that Apple officially announced, I believe on Monday, that they are finally moving forward and have officially announced that they are making their own streaming service called Apple TV Plus. I'm a very mixed mindset about it. Like, there's three main things I want to talk about. One of which, is this a good idea that Apple's even making their own streaming service? Two, is anyone actually excited for the streaming service? And number three is that there's a little director that you might be aware of that's now facing some controversy from some comments we made earlier, named Steven Spielberg. He was at the Apple event pretty much saying he's going to bring back an old TV show and is going to be available exclusively on this Apple TV Plus streaming service. But let's start off with, is anybody excited, and should Apple have actually gone through with the streaming service? Because I'm hearing some very conflicting things out there from people. So I'm just going to give my opinion. I think this is a really, I hate to say it because I really like Apple as a company. I'm streaming from a Mac right now. I have an iPhone, I have an iPad, I have AirPods. I think this is a really dumb move by Apple. For one of the first times ever, for a company that I really like and enjoy their products, I think this is a really, really bad idea for a couple of reasons. One of which is, I think that they just waited way too long to make this streaming service. There's already so many streaming services out there. The market is just so saturated at this point. I don't think anyone is going to really subscribe to an Apple streaming service. Look, we already have Netflix, Hulu, CBS All Access. We're going to have the Disney streaming service this year. We have the DC Comics streaming service. What else do we have? And then people are not only just subscribing to streaming services for content, like media content, but they also have music streaming services like Apple Music and stuff like that. There's just so many streaming services out there at this point. I just think Apple's a little late to the party. If this was something that they really wanted to do, I honestly think it should have been a couple of years ago that they made this announcement and moved forward with the streaming service. Because I know that they've been in development with this for a couple of years at this point. Why not do this 2 years ago when the streaming service was not as saturated of a market as it was? Why wait until now? And I know Apple likes to say they're innovative, and then Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, comes out, pretty much says, this is more than a streaming service. This is something new, completely different. Like, no, it's not. Come on. Look, I know Apple likes to say that they're innovators and whenever they make a product, it's something that's never been done before, but let's not kid ourselves. This is a streaming service. It could be a very good streaming service, but it's nothing really all that new and original. So I really don't like this idea that Apple's like suddenly coming out and saying, look at this amazing, innovative product that we have. What is it? It's a streaming service. You mean like Netflix? No, but this is different, innovative. No, it's not. I just think that Apple's too late to the game, and I think they're trying to do something here by saying that this is more than a streaming service when it's really not. There's so many out there. I don't understand why Apple thinks consumers are going to go want to buy another one from Apple. And that brings me to another point with why consumers wouldn't want to go buy it. Because traditionally Apple products are very expensive. The company, I don't know if this is what the company says or what, but they say that there's an Apple tax because you're getting this really good quality product, so they're going to be more expensive than the normal thing. So like an iPhone might be more expensive than a Samsung Galaxy phone because this is a better made product and you're going to get more value out of it. If Apple goes with this same mentality with this tax, I think we're in a world of hurt for this whole thing, honestly. Just because I think Apple thinks that people are just going to go and buy this service because the brand of Apple is attached to it, and they're not. If you go and charge 15, 17 bucks for this whole Apple service, nobody's going to buy it at all. I mean, that's the reality of it. You're not going to be able to convince people to go and buy a $20 streaming service. Oh, but the brand Apple is on it. No, that is not how that works. Consumers now have so many options to go and buy a streaming service right now within Netflix, Hulu, Disney eventually, that nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to have any interest in buying a streaming service that's just more expensive because there's so many other options out there for consumers to get that they are not going to want to go through with that. It's just a reality. Apple has this mentality that the consumers are going to be like, oh, it has the word Apple on it, so consumers are going to buy it. Well, the average person already subscribes to a $10 streaming service, which is Netflix. And then they also subscribe to another thing called Hulu. And then you're up at like $18 a month already on streaming services. So I just think companies are going to be a little bit more hesitant, or consumers are going to be a little bit more hesitant to buy the product. I really do. And I think this could be one of Apple's first failures, honestly. And look, the possibility still remains here that Apple charges $8 a month for their streaming service. And I think that if they do that, I think there is potential there for it to work out. But if they start charging $20 a month for this thing, nobody's going to buy it. Because nobody cares. It's like, what, $20 a month for a random Apple streaming service? I don't want that. I don't need that. And the other thing is, too, that I guess I wasn't surprised because Apple's very new to this content creation sphere, but I was very surprised that they don't have any recognizable IPs. One of the main things, there's two main things I believe that allows the streaming services to gain a high subscriber base. One of which is having a big library of content that has already been made, acquired content. Like Netflix, they have Friends, The Office. I think Parks and Rec is also on Netflix. You have these streaming services that have acquired content, and then consumers want to go to those streaming services because they want to watch this content and like binge watch 10 seasons of TV. Apple doesn't seem to have that. They seem to be going straight to the original programming route, which I'm not. I think it's a good move for Apple to be making original programming right off the bat, because that is how also a lot of streaming services are making money. But I also think that if Apple wants to take this thing seriously, they need to have some acquired content along with along with their original content, because I don't think a lot of people are going to care about this random Jason Momoa show that's on there when it's not recognizable, because that's the other thing too. Apple doesn't have any recognizable IPs that they're making shows out of. They're all original content. They're all original ideas for Apple, which I think is an interesting idea, just to have original content. But I think you need an anchor show. You need something that's going to get people. You need something that's going to get the consumers to go in and buy it. You need something that's going to get consumers to go in and buy the streaming service, because it's an investment. We've seen Disney do it. Disney is launching with a Star Wars show called The Mandalorian. I think Loki might also be launching with the Disney streaming service eventually. And for Apple to just not have any content with recognizable IPs, I think is a really big mistake. I think Apple thinks, oh, we're going to slap the Apple brand on here, people are going to go buy it, we're going to make good content, but I don't think people really care. The main reason people are subscribing to these streaming services is because they have shows that they want to watch. They have a Friends, they have an Office, stuff like that. They have shows, acquired content that people want to watch, and then they also have content from recognizable IPs like Star Wars or the DC streaming services with Titans and Robin. And Apple's just getting rid of all of that completely with going straight with original content ideas, which I think, again, could be a big mistake. And quite honestly, I'm not excited about this. I'm one of the biggest champions of streaming services, honestly. I think that they provide some really great content. But at the same time, this one does make me nervous. I really don't care about the Jason Momoa show, and I love Steven Spielberg so much. He's my favorite director of all time. I don't care that he's going to direct another a show for Apple. I'm just not interested in it. That doesn't mean that it won't be good. I quite frankly, I don't have any interest in it. So I'm not quite sure what Apple is really thinking with all this stuff. And also, I think they should have shown some more footage from these shows, to be quite honest with you. They showed like a little sizzle reel, which, yeah, it was good. Saw Jennifer Aniston show in there. You saw some clips from Spielberg. You had M. Night Shyamalan making an appearance in the video. Ron Howard. It was a cool video. It just didn't make me excited to see the show that they were going to premiere on it. And I think they should have shown more footage. If you're going to go and you're going to create all original content, you need to go in with a bang. You need to show some footage from it if you want consumers to invest in this product that you're creating. But Apple didn't do that. They were like, no, we have this great original content, we have these great ideas, but we're not going to show any of it. Like, I'm sorry, but people are not going to subscribe to this service if you don't have acquired content, if you don't have original property ideas. There's just so many other options out there that have proven themselves again and again and again that I think Apple's too late to the party on this. And then the other aspect that I wanted to talk about was this whole Steven Spielberg controversy that, I'll be honest, I do not think it's a controversy. I think people are making a much bigger deal out of this than it actually is. So pretty much this whole thing started with a few weeks ago. Steven Spielberg came out, made some comments to the Academy saying that he doesn't believe Netflix films should be nominated for Oscars, that there has been TV awards that have been out there forever. They're called the Emmys, and that Netflix films should be nominated for that. And I agreed with him on that. I really did agree with him. I think that Netflix wants to change the rules for themselves, and they don't want to play by the Academy's rules, so if they're going to do that, then go and get nominated for Emmys. Go and win some Emmys. If you want to go and win Oscars, fine, but play by the Academy's rules and release your films in theaters. If you have faith in them, if they're good, people will go and see them. It doesn't have to be a full theatrical run, but have a limited run. Have some playing in New York, LA, more than 2 theaters, some in DC, some in the big cities, and you'll make some money off of it. I'm not saying don't put them on Netflix. I'm not saying Netflix films shouldn't be nominated, but I do agree that Netflix films should be theatrically released in order to be eligible for Oscars. Look, TV movies have been around forever. You never saw CBS going in and trying to get an Oscar. That's all I'll say on that. So in other words, I do agree with Spielberg. I think that Netflix and the Oscars need to change their rules for eligibility for streaming services. Then, of course, a lot of people took those comments by Spielberg and said how Spielberg hates Netflix. Spielberg doesn't want Netflix films nominated. And that's not what he said. Spielberg likes Netflix. Spielberg just thinks that they need to they have to follow the Academy Award rules and regulations that typically other studios have to follow to make it a fair playing field. So I agree with him. And then the Apple event happened on Monday, and people lost their mind. So pretty much the whole thing started off with Tim Cook, CEO, is like, we have this really special video we want to show you. And the whole thing opens, and it's like, you hear Steven Spielberg voice. He's like, how would I start this video? Well, I start with a little speck of light, and then it goes on from there. He comes out on stage, and everyone loses their mind because they say Spielberg hates Netflix, but loves Apple. This was just a whole publicity stunt for him saying that he hates Netflix, but he's going to love Apple now. And honestly, I really disagree with that. Because as I said before, Spielberg never said he hated Netflix. Like, I'm sorry, I know that's a popular opinion to have, but Spielberg never said that he hates Netflix. All he said was that he thought that there should be more regulations on Netflix movies. He never said he hated Netflix. He never said anything along those lines. All he said was that there needs to be more regulations. So I had no issue with Spielberg coming out and saying that he was developing a show for the Apple streaming service. And then also, I would agree with people if Spielberg came out at this Apple streaming service and said, I'm making my next feature-length movie, let's say it's Indiana Jones 5. Spielberg comes out and says, I'm directing Indiana Jones 5. It's coming out exclusively on the Apple TV Plus streaming service. And you can only watch it there. It's not going to be played in theaters. Then at that point, I'd be like, wow. All right, so Spielberg clearly has some issues that he needs to work out. But that's not what happened. Spielberg is producing a television series. He's not even... I really hope he directs a couple episodes. I don't think he will. But right now, he's developing a television series for this. He's not making a movie. He is directly involved. He is producing it, but he's not directing it. His company, Ablin, is developing the show for Apple. He is not directing a movie. These are two completely separate things. It's not like Spielberg said, I hate Netflix. They shouldn't be allowed to be nominated for Oscars, but I'm going to go direct a movie for Apple and have them premiere the movie there. That is not what happened at all whatsoever. What happened was Spielberg was probably approached saying, hey, we want you to develop a TV show. Sure, I'll put some work into it. I'll give some ideas. I'll go to meetings and stuff, but I'm going to have other people direct it. He's not directing it. He's having another company. He's having his company produce the whole thing. And I think they're two completely different things. Spielberg has nothing against streaming services. But that's all I have to say on that. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section if you think Spielberg's actually right. What you think about this whole streaming service, Apple streaming service thing. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Are people going to subscribe to it? are you excited for the Spielberg show that he's doing and all these other shows with Jennifer Aniston and Steve Carell and stuff like that? Let me know in the comments section. All right, so the next topic we have to discuss today is Gambit. Apparently, it's not dead, as we might have thought before. So just to get started, I'm going to read this quote that one of the producers of the film put out. He said, all of the movies at Fox are being evaluated. Gambit screenwriter Simon Kinberg told Variety's Mark Malkin on Tuesday at the Hollywood premiere of CBS All Access. I love the idea of Channing playing Gambit. I think we have a great script for it, and I think it's a role he was born to play, Kinberg said. It's a character I grew up loving, and I know the fans love. So I hope it will happen. So pretty much you can see at the end he just said, so I suspect, and then he wait a second, he's like, I hope it will happen. So I was really under the impression that Gambit might be just completely dead. But it appears that's not the case at the moment. It appears that, so for those of you who don't know, the deal between Disney and Fox officially went through. Disney, the Walt Disney Company, officially owns 20th Century Fox, or at least the film division of it. And with that, a lot of the projects, especially the Marvel projects that Fox was working on at the time, were done, unless they were in principal photography or something like that in very late stages of development. They were canceled because Disney wants to obviously do their own thing with the X-Men and introduce them into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I do think that there is a very decent possibility that this Gambit movie is going to happen for a couple of reasons. One of which is that I would have thought that Simon Kinberg would come out when asked about it and say, no, this movie's dead. But he didn't say that. He said, I think it could possibly happen, which is significantly better, obviously, than him coming out and saying, it's done. It's canceled. And honestly, I'm not all that surprised by it. Look, Marvel, they have proven over the years they're not scared to go into these little lesser-known characters. And I think Gambit's no exception to that. Look, do I think this Gambit movie is going to come out within the next couple of years? No, I think that's really unlikely. I think that Marvel has at least started to develop a plan for the X-Men and to introduce mutation into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And you obviously have to do that before you can introduce a character like Gambit. He has strong ties with X-Men. He's a mutant. So you have to explain mutation, how that can occur in the Marvel Cinematic Universe before you can introduce a character like Gambit. But I really do believe that maybe after Fox or Disney does a couple of X-Men movies, introduces mutation to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you will see a Gambit movie. Look, Marvel made a movie about Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy. They made two Ant-Man movies, two movies about Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's why Marvel might still be interested in developing a Gambit movie. Because Gambit is a lesser-known character, but Marvel has proven that they can have success with those types of characters, so I think they're not scared to go into a character like this. Look, they have a script done that I'm sure that they will take, probably tweak it a little bit so it can better fit into the MCU, but I really do think that this is a very decent potential of something to happen. Because why not? You got the script. You got I hope that they keep Channing Tatum, and that's really not retconning anything. Because, look, Marvel has said that they're getting rid of all of the X-Men that are in the Fox universe right now and going to recast. But Channing Tatum hasn't been in an X-Men movie yet. He hasn't been in X-Men Days of Future Past with Michael Fassbender. So I think it's a distinct possibility that they keep Channing Tatum because he hasn't made any appearances yet. And for the reasons I said before, with them wanting to take some interesting characters, take some interesting takes after they introduce mutation to X-Men to MCU, I think Gambit's a perfect choice for that. And I think Marvel and Kevin Feige could do a really great job with it. So anyways, what are you guys' thoughts on this whole Gambit movie? Let me know in the comments section below. Alright, so now we have an interesting topic to talk about. That is that Marvel took some time the other day to release some character posters for Avengers Endgame. So if you look here, you can see half of the characters that are in these posters are in black and white, representing the characters who died in Infinity War. And then on the other side, you have the characters in color representing the characters who died. And there's some interesting fan theories that actually were kind of just directly shot down by having these character posters released. And there's a couple I want to talk about. One is Shuri was confirmed to be dead in this. Shuri was... we never saw her dust in Avengers Infinity War. So a lot of people were unsure, like, oh, is this going to be like another... is Shuri going to be highly involved in Avengers Endgame? And is she going to be responsible for creating those quantum realm suits that we see all the Avengers wearing in the trailer, and creating a way to bring back everyone, or create a way for time travel? Because Shuri is the smartest person in the MCU, been confirmed by Kevin Feige several times, even though people like to deny that. But anyway, so a lot of people thought Shuri was going to be in the MCU. Guess that's not the case. Or she was going to be in Endgame. I guess that's not the case. Shuri is in fact dead, and if these posters are to be believed, and I believe it. Look, Marvel is no stranger to misdirecting audiences with their marketing. They did it with Infinity War, with that one shot of Hulk, War Machine, and Captain America all running together. That shot wasn't even in the movie. And the Russo brothers pretty much confirmed, saying that, yeah, we included that to misdirect the audiences and throw them off. But I just think that this is the second time that Shuri has been confirmed to be dead. We saw in the first trailer, there was like a television screen that all the Avengers were looking at, just like a bunch of characters coming up, and then it said missing on them. And Shuri was one of the characters that was missing. And now it's saying Shuri here was one of the victims of the snap. So I really think that those theories of Shuri being gone, or Shuri being able to help the Avengers, creating a way to time travel and fix the snap, are done. I think that she's gone, or at least temporarily until the end of Endgame. And the Avengers are going to have to figure out another way to time travel, probably created by Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, and Ant-Man. But that's another video for another time about some Avengers Endgame theories. And then another one is that we see Pepper Potts is actually still alive in the Happy Hogan. So I'll talk about Pepper Potts because Happy Hogan's like, yeah, cool, he's still alive. It'll be cool to see him in the movie. But Pepper Potts being in the trailer, I do find interesting, because another theory was that Tony's going to get back to Earth and figure out Pepper was dead and pregnant, and that's going to be a big whole motivational thing for him to go and defeat Thanos. Well, that's obviously not the case, because Pepper is still alive. That does lend itself to another popular theory that Pepper uses a rescue armor to go out in space and rescue Tony. I don't think that's going to happen, honestly, but, you know, Pepper being confirmed to be alive does give a little bit more credibility to that theory. And then another one that just really surprised me was that one of the character posters was actually Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok. Look, we know that Valkyrie survived Avengers Infinity War when Thor says, Thanos killed half my people, the other half escaped. And the Russo brothers did confirm that Valkyrie was in fact still alive. But I honestly didn't take anything by that seriously when the Russo brothers said that, because I was just like, alright, she's alive, that means she's still around somewhere. But I didn't think that actually means she'd pop up in Endgame, but it does look like it's confirming from these character posters that she is in fact in the movie, and that I'm sure she'll play a small role, but it looks like she will have at least a significant and important role to play, which I'll be curious to see, because I really didn't think that she was going to be in this movie at all. But these character posters say otherwise, and it looks like that all the characters in these posters are going to be in the movie. So I'm looking forward to see what kind of role she plays. I think it will be pretty small, but I think it will be important. And then Wong is still alive. Like, I didn't really see any theories about Wong being dead, but I just think it's kind of cool to note that he's still around. He's going to be in the movie. I'm sure he'll be a very important tool for the Avengers to have while fighting Thanos, but I do think it's cool that he's going to be in the movie. Wong was like one of my favorite parts of Avengers Infinity War, so I'm going to be excited to see him pop back up in Endgame. Alright, with all that done, let's move on to the next topic of the day, and this one might be a little bit controversial. So Zack Snyder took some time to say some comments about his opinion on what other people think about Batman killing in the DCEU. So I'm just going to read his comments. There's some inappropriate language, to say the least, in them, so I am going to skip over it just a little bit. As I'm reading this, it's not entirely appropriate for me to read on the air, so I'm just going to kind of summarize some stuff and then pick and choose what quotes I read. So pretty much he says, like, you need to get over yourself, and say, pretty much, yeah, not all superheroes are perfect. The superheroes kill in the DCU. And then he said to say, my superhero wouldn't do that. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, down the road on that, Snyder said. So pretty much saying he's over that. He doesn't want to talk about it anymore. And he said, it's a cool point of view to be like, my heroes are still innocent. My heroes didn't lie to America. My heroes didn't embezzle money from their corporations. My heroes didn't commit any atrocities. That's cool, but you're living in a dream world. So pretty much he's saying, like, look, superheroes kill people, and if you think otherwise, you're in a dream world. And I'm with two mindsets on this. It might surprise you, I don't know. But I agree with what Zack Snyder is saying. if you watch any of the superhero movies, the heroes kill people. Like, Batman is throwing people against the wall. That could easily kill somebody. He doesn't kill them. They always show a camera shot of him, of the victim walking away, but that didn't happen. I just think that if anyone thinks that the superheroes are perfect and innocent individuals, they would never kill anybody if they could avoid it, you're kidding yourself. Because we have seen throughout the MCU, granted, in the comic books and everything like that, the heroes in the MCU don't have a non-kill code, but we see so many deaths in the MCU. Captain America's killed so many people. Iron Man has too. Thor has. Thor literally says he's killed over 2,000 people. I think then you need to give that same thing to Batman. If you're not going to have a criticism of MCU characters killing people in their universe, why can't Batman? Well, Batman has a no-kill code in the comics, but this isn't the comics. This is the movie. And there's so many other background rules on why Batman has a no-kill code, but this is the DCEU we're talking about, a live-action movie about a vigilante who's trying to protect innocent people. And if there's people in his way that are threatening innocent lives, he might have to kill them. I'm sorry, but that's the unfortunate reality, and I think people need to move on from that. It's really not, it's not like he's a mass murderer. That's not what he's doing. He doesn't intend to do that. He warns people, like, you better move or there's going to be some damage. And they don't. He gets in his way and he has to do what he has to do. But to say, like, oh, Batman would never kill anybody, we literally see him in every single movie throwing people off a building. Oh, don't worry, he just broke a few ribs. He'll be fine in a few months. Like, no, that could have potentially killed them. Batman didn't know that wouldn't kill them. So I just think people need to move on and understand, like, yeah, this is a live-action world, and to make it more grounded and gritty, Batman kills a few people. On the other hand, though, Zack Snyder said some things in this article that he should not have said, especially the language. Like, I didn't read the entire excerpt that I took from the website, just because there's a couple of F-bombs in there, and I obviously wasn't going to read that on the air. But that's not acceptable behavior from Zack Snyder, and I understand. He's probably pretty much done with everyone saying, why does Batman kill? This isn't my Batman, and he's just like, get over it. It's done. This is my decision. This is why. Just get over it. And I agree with that sentiment. He just should have gone down a nicer way. Like, it really wasn't nice to say, grow up, with some inappropriate language in there. I understand that Zack Snyder's frustrated with the fan base. Just be a little bit more understanding. And honestly, I'll just take some time to say this. I think that Zack Snyder needs to move on from the DCU. Look, he's done. He's probably not going to direct a movie for them anytime soon. Stop posting on Instagram all the things that you didn't get to shoot. Stop posting all the things that could have been. It didn't happen. You were fired. And that's unfortunate, because I like Man of Steel. Batman vs. Superman was great, but that's another story. I just think that people need to be more aware of, or Zack Snyder needs to be more aware of, like, he needs to stop saying stuff like this, because he's just getting the fan base riled up again. Like, the DCU is moving in a very good direction. Zack Snyder needs to stop bringing stuff up that didn't happen, because guess what? It's not going to happen anytime soon. It's not going to happen at all. And all you're doing is making the fan base more angry when the fan base seems to be moving on from the disappointment of Justice League. That was a disappointment of BVS, because people now like Aquaman. People seem to be liking Shazam. So stop igniting the flame. Just let it go. I understand it was unfortunate you didn't get to finish your cut of the movie that you wanted to make, but the reality is it's not going to happen anytime soon. So you just need to stop. He just needs to stop talking about this. I think that Zack Snyder has a right to say what he wants to say on social media, and that's his business. But if he wants to have another career and continue his career outside the DCU, and I like him as a filmmaker, I really do. He can have a really good career outside the DCU, but he's just going to put himself in a little box if he keeps talking about this. And people are not going to want to hire him if he's going to keep talking about this, because guess what? He's going to get hired by another studio eventually. Like, he is going to. That's without a doubt. But he might be limited in his jobs eventually if he keeps doing this, because what studio is going to want to hire him when he's like, well, if we fired this guy, he's just going to keep talking about all the bad things that we did and what we didn't include from his movie. He's just going to keep doing it over and over again and not let it go. And nobody's going to want to hire him, and he's not going to be able to direct the movies he wants to direct. So for Zack Snyder's sake, I hope he stops so he could get a better job or get another job and direct the movies he wants to direct. But anyways, that's all my thoughts on the whole Zack Snyder thing. I'm kind of disappointed by it, honestly, but let me know in the comment section what you think. Alright, so the last topic we have today is that a new poster was released for Star Wars Episode 9. I can't remember the exact publication that leaked it, but this is apparently a leaked poster for Star Wars Episode 9. With two mindsets on this. I don't like the poster, but I'll clarify. It's too busy. There's so many things going on in this poster. It's way too busy to be a poster. I have no idea what this movie is about. From looking at this poster, it doesn't get me excited at all. Like, yeah, I can see Kylo Ren, I can see the Knights of Ren, I can see the Red Stormtroopers at the bottom. I can see Chewie, I can see, I think Finn is in there. Yeah, I can see the Falcon, I can see a whole bunch of stuff. But it doesn't give me any insight to what this movie is. Because, let me clarify a little bit. Like, at least with The Last Jedi, the poster that was released at Star Wars Celebration before the movie came out, you see the poster and it's right at the bottom, holding up the lightsaber, going up the middle, and on one side you have Luke Skywalker, and on the other side you have Kylo Ren. That poster gave you some insight into what it was about. It showed that there was going to be a conflict with Rey between the light and the dark. The first Star Wars poster gives you the impression of what the story is going to be about. To take another franchise like Spider-Man Far From Home, you see all the stickers on the Spider-Man mask. You see, like, oh, it's going to be a global adventure that Spider-Man is going to have. This poster gives you no information whatsoever about what this movie is actually about. It literally looks like some 14-year-old kid went onto Photoshop and slapped a bunch of pictures together and edited it together to make like a fan-made poster. That's what it looks like to me, kind of like a fan-made poster. And I do believe this poster is real, but again, I'll talk about that more in a second. So I'm just really not a big fan of the poster. Movie posters, in my opinion, should be art, and should be get you excited for the movie and give you some insight into what it's going to be like and bring out some emotion. This does nothing. This literally looks like some random Photoshop collage of some sort that anyone could do on Photoshop. Now, well, I obviously don't like the poster. I am also of the mindset that this poster is not the official poster. It's going to be released by Disney. I do believe that this is a real poster, but I think it might be used for maybe some merchandising stuff down the line, or maybe inter-industry stuff for marketing. So I think that's what it's meant for. I don't think it's a theatrical one-sheet poster that you're going to see at the movie theaters. I think it's used for some marketing stuff, and that's going to be about it. I think the official poster, the one that you'll see at all the movie theaters, on all over the internet, is going to be released at Star Wars Celebration, I believe, in a few weeks, actually. So I think that's when we're going to see an actual poster, and I think it's going to be a lot better than this. I think Disney learned their lesson when they released the Force Awakens poster. That was kind of similar to this, honestly. I thought it was a little bit better, but it was just like a whole bunch of characters slapped on there. I do think that we're going to see a really cool poster for Episode 9 at Celebration. I think we're going to get a title. I think we're going to get a trailer. And obviously here, another reason I don't think this is the official poster is that at the bottom, you just see Star Wars. There's no title. I mean, obviously, if they were going to release an official poster, or if this was a leaked poster, they would put the official title on there. And the one thing I do want to say before I wrap this up is that the one part of the poster I really do like is that if you look right below Rey and right next to Finn, you can see C-3PO. What's he holding? Chewbacca's bowcaster, and wearing like a little belt thing. I can't remember what that's called, but also I think that's Chewie's. I just think that's the funniest thing ever. I think that's going to be really cool. And we heard that C-3PO is going to have a bigger story in this episode, so I think we could take that as like, yeah, C-3PO is going to be in some battles and stuff. If this poster is any indication of that, obviously it's going to be using Chewie's bowcaster to kick some butt in battle, and I think that's going to be really cool. I just saw this thing on Instagram that I thought was really funny. A film pundit that I like, his name's Robert Byron Burnett. He said that the official poster for Star Wars Episode 9 should be just a picture of C-3PO holding the bowcaster saying the rebellion continues. And I just thought that was great. Like, Disney would never do that. Maybe they'll do it like for one character, you know how they sometimes make those character posters like they did for Endgame. Disney also does that for Star Wars sometimes. If they did that for C-3PO, I'd honestly buy that poster. I think that's really good and cool. Well, anyways, guys, that wraps up our show for today. Let me know in the comments section what your thoughts on all these topics are. What you think about this new Star Wars leaked poster, the comments about Zack Snyder, the Avengers Endgame posters, the character posters that release Apple launching their own streaming service, Gambit being possibly still in development at Disney. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. That wraps up our show for today, guys. If you're finding this channel for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to this on WZBT Gettysburg, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ethan Cannistra, Ethan C-A-N-N-I-S-T-R-A. That wraps up our show for this week. Stay tuned next week on at Thursday at 3 o'clock for another Ethan Cannistra show covering the latest news in the world of movies. And I'll give you my opinion on what it all means. So until next time, bye-bye.